graphic nature of this program, listener discretion is advised.
My fellow Americans, I want to speak to you tonight about the troubling events of the past week. As I have said, the incursion of the U.S. Capitol struck at the very heart of our republic. It angered and appalled millions of Americans across the political spectrum. I want to be very clear. I unequivocally condemn the violence that we saw last week. Violence and vandalism have absolutely no place in our country and no place in our movement.
Does that make me crazy? Does that make you crazy? Maybe we're crazy. Probably.
Making America great again has always been about defending the rule of law, supporting the men and women of law enforcement, and upholding our nation's most sacred traditions and values. Mob violence goes against everything I believe in and everything our movement stands for. No true supporter of mine could ever endorse political violence. No true supporter of mine could ever disrespect law enforcement or our great American flag.
Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe me crazy. That make me crazy. Possibly.
No true supporter of mine could ever threaten or harass their fellow Americans. If you do any of these things, you are not supporting our movement. You are attacking it, and you are attacking our country. We cannot tolerate it. Tragically, over the course of the past year, made so difficult because of COVID-19, we have seen political violence spiral out of control. We have seen too many riots, too many mobs, too many acts of intimidation and destruction. It must stop.
Crazy. Maybe you're crazy.
Whether you are on the right or on the left, a Democrat or a Republican, there is never a justification for violence. No excuses, no exceptions. America is a nation of laws. Those who engaged in the attacks last week will be brought to justice. Now I am asking everyone who has ever believed in our agenda to be thinking of ways to ease tensions, calm tempers, and help to promote peace in our country.
Does that make me crazy? Does that make you crazy? I think you're crazy. Possibly.
There has been reporting that additional demonstrations are being planned in the coming days, both here in Washington and across the country. I have been briefed by the U.S. Secret Service on the potential threats. Every American deserves to have their voice heard in a respectful and peaceful way. That is your First Amendment right. But I cannot emphasize that there must be no violence, no law breaking, and no vandalism of any kind.
But maybe I'm crazy. Maybe you're crazy. Does that make me crazy?
Probably. Everyone must follow our laws and obey the instructions of law enforcement. I have directed federal agencies to use all necessary resources to maintain order. In Washington, D.C., we are bringing in thousands of National Guard members to secure the city and ensure that a transition can occur safely and without incident. Like all of you, I was shocked and deeply saddened by the calamity at the Capitol last week. to thank the hundreds of millions of incredible American citizens who have responded to this moment with calm, moderation, and grace. We will get through this challenge just like we always do. Stay the fuck at home.
Your podcast will fail.
It's just a coincidence that you were talking about the Jack and Triumph show and I'm here. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast.
Hey man, this is Kevin Smith, guy who makes all those unlistenable podcasts over at smodcast.com, and you're listening to the Two Strangers, One Podcast. This is podcasting.
You're listening to Two Strangers, One Podcast. Subscribe to us on iTunes or on the Stitcher app for Android devices. Please visit twostrangersonepodcast.net. Now, here's Chris Cologne and Paul Pasquillo.
Hello and welcome to Two Strangers, One Podcast. I'm Chris.
Paul.
Happy New Year, Paul.
Took you long enough.
2021. Let me tell you. Well, first and foremost, and I think we probably said this the last episode. Fuck 2020. Fuck everything that happened in 2020. So few good things happened, and here we are. We're recording this on the 13th, 2 weeks in to 2021, and it looks like the shitball is still rolling fucking downhill with everything. Let's go through the usual Happy New Year rigmarole. I'm not even trying to have any resolutions this year. After last year, I'm like, just fucking make it. Just make it another year. Just live. You have any resolutions?
Just live.
Yeah. And then, of course, our schedule has slowed down with the podcast, and it's not like, it's not like obviously things in the world are going on, but like when it comes to like nerdy news and stuff like that, news is kind of slowed down in that area. I mean, we have a couple of good stories to talk about later on.
It's Chris's fault.
Oh, hey, how is it my fault? Well, we're both unemployed now. So well, that's all, it's so weird. Like, I've been unemployed since like April, and I'm never bored. It's not like I don't have anything to do. Like, I'm trying to do like creative shit and creative projects, and there's, my daughter keeps me busy. There are times where I'm just a lazy fuck. It's not like I'm busy, but I'm never bored. I don't understand people who get bored. Either that or, I'm just trying to like entertain myself, And I've been
That's dangerous.
Yeah, I've been like deep diving like YouTube videos when it comes to like crafting videos or like people who make stuff like from home and stuff like that. I've just been watching a lot.
It's become one of those people.
I mean, I'm not like a live, laugh, love person, but I'm just saying it's just, watching, videos about like guys like, and it's not like, and it's sad. Well, it's funny. I was watching these videos, but not because of Doomsday or anything like that. Well, we'll get to that in a minute. But like, guys, the videos that are kind of like Doomsday preppers, like guys who are making like, how to make a hot water heater, and they would with just like raw materials, like, you happen to have some metal that you could put some wood in, and it's not like wood you could drink, but it's wood that, I mean, it's not water you could drink, and, but, you can make hot water if you need to take a shower, if you have the water goes out, and, and watching videos about, just, build, like, how to build, like, a heater in your house, like, if the electricity goes out and you want to...
I'm shaking my head at you right now.
Well, no, I'm just saying, hey, look, we'll get to it in a minute, but, we may... we may be going into a new civil war, so it's kind of good to know about that stuff, and watching videos about like solar panels and stuff. And not that I can't afford fucking solar panels, but just just learning about stuff like that. But with this being the new year, I mean, hopefully we'll get our schedule back to the way it used to be. But right now, I guess, monthly, we could work with monthly episodes, because it's been just about a month since the last episode. And with that, it blows my mind that in April, this podcast will be 9 years old. And, it's like you could go back and just, like I've documented my life for the past 9 years. So if I croak tomorrow, at least, someone download the episodes for my daughter and say, hey, here was your dad's last 10 years of his life or last 9 years of his life. And, it's been a great trip. And not that we're planning on stopping or anything like that, but, it just blows my mind that I've been doing this for almost a decade now. And with that, in April comes Comic-Con, and like I'm slowly like wondering like what is this year gonna bring when it comes to like obviously I'm concerned about Comic-Con. Is there going to be a Comic-Con this year? You know, because the vaccine, people are getting vaccines now. I mean, things are slowly. I mean, even Fauci, Anthony Fauci said that maybe we could start having concerts and sporting events like in the end of the year, like later part of the year, and Comic-Con's in October. You know,
I mean, it's not going to be. I don't know. That's a good question because I feel like everybody will be vaccinated by then because it's in October usually, right?
Yeah. It's always like the first week in October.
So I feel like everybody will be vaccinated, but it's one of those things where it's like.
Then it's also do you want to go out do you want to be around really 40,000 people? And the whole thing is like well, I mean, okay, I'm talking about October. I'm talking about something like 8 months, 9 months down the line. The other day. This shit fucking infuriated me, other than the obvious stuff we're going to talk about in a second. The Alabama football team, or the Crimson Tide or whatever, they won. And then you just see huge fucking crowds of dummies coming outside to celebrate. And it's like, I get your life is that devoid of meaning. I get, that the only thing you have in your life is a bunch of strangers that you don't know playing a fucking game. And of course, look, we're nerds and we get into like I like Comic-Con and stuff like that. But, if something, like if they had Comic-Con right now, I might not go. If there was Comic-Con right now with the current conditions where the numbers haven't, the curve hasn't been flattened, I might actually have to like if they said it was a Comic-Con right now, I don't necessarily think I would go. I don't want to be in a crowd of 40,000 people coughing and breathing and stuff like that. It blows my mind. So. But yeah, those dummies were, and maybe it's because I'm not a sports person, but it's still, I mean, I understand if you want to celebrate at home. Have a good time. I'm pretty sure if you're home, you have friends and family that like football also. There's no need to go outside your house. So, have you gotten your stimulus check, your $600?
Oh yeah, I got my $600.
Yeah, I mean, it's so, I mean, I don't know. I don't see people online complaining about not having it yet. Because oddly enough, I got mine like on the first of the month, but it was also like usually New Year's Day it's a federal holiday, and I was surprised to get it on a federal holiday. I mean, I know it's just a computer; it's not like no one had to open the it's not like the bank was open or anything like that. But it was in my account, which fucking with my bills, that $600 quickly left as soon as I got it. I'm just trying to keep my head above water. And, once again, before things got even worse, it was Mitch McConnell, that piece of shit scumbag, turtle man, where they wrote like graffiti on his house. Where's my money?
Well, they did that to Nancy Pelosi too.
And Pelosi. I think it was one of those deals where like, I saw something on Facebook where it was like someone had asked the question, which house? Here's the guy who's denying the rest of the country money, and then all of a sudden, which of his houses got vandalized? So I thought that was a little funny.
Oh Jesus.
Okay, Paul, let's get into it. About 4 years ago, you and I, and it's one of those deals where like I hate to say I told you so. This is something that we've been harping on for the past 4 years. I mean, right after Trump got elected 4 years ago, the episode was called "The Last Day in America," and I had said that like a joke. Well, hoping it was a joke. I mean, I always knew it was a bad idea to let a businessman be the president. You don't run a country like the way you run a business. I've been a diehard anti. I was one of those people. I was like blue no matter who. Super anti-Trump. And I have friends online, since especially in the past year, the pandemic, we pretty much live online. I have friends online that are Trump supporters, and for the most part, my friends that are Trump supporters have sort of like, they just ignore me with all the anti-Trump shit that I post. For these years, I know my dad's a Trump supporter and stuff like that. And I know my dad, and he's told me, he goes, I know my dad listens to the podcast, and he's like, I like it. I just don't like it when you pause to get into politics. Sorry, Dad. We're gonna do it some more. But but even like my dad, like we get along. Like me and my dad don't get into fucking heated debates and shit like that. But I'm just saying, it's one of those deals where like, you just accept somebody for where they are and stuff like that. And, but it was just like recently, like I had a friend of mine, an old, this guy, like the first time I moved out of my house, I was like 21, 22 when I moved out of my house. My first apartment, this guy was my roommate, and even obviously we lived together, but we were also friends. Like we were teenagers, we grew up in the same neighborhood, downtown Manhattan, Lower East Side. He lived in the projects. I actually lived across the street from the projects, and since then, he's done well for himself. As a matter of fact, if it wasn't for me, he wouldn't have met his wife. And then the whole thing is like he met his wife through me and my ex-wife, and actually like they actually kind of split up for a while. Not split up, but they stopped like talking to each other. And then like me and my ex-wife were like at the time why don't we get those guys back together? They haven't spoken to each other for a while. So like I reintroduced him to his wife. They're happily married with 2 kids. Of course none of my friends live in downtown Manhattan anymore because we can't afford to. But he's making a pretty good life for himself, and he lives on the East Coast in a very rural area, and he turned into a gigantic fucking Trump supporter. And it was like not every post because I post a lot of anti-Trump shit, but like it was so weird how bad he was coming at me. With the anti Trump stuff and it's so weird. Because like, and the funny thing is, I don't even get into it with strangers. Saying sometimes a stranger will make a nasty remark. Like if I comment on if I comment on your page and you don't really, you post shit, but and let's just say a friend of yours commented on my comment. I usually just leave it alone because I'm like, that's a friend of Paul's or family members of Paul's, whatever. I'm not gonna get into it because I'm not gonna blow up your timeline with fucking bullshit, But I got real into it with like I said, this guy was my roommate. We were high school. We were friends all through high school years. And then the funny thing is that now we're recording this on the 13th, the day they voted, for the second impeachment of Trump. For like the past couple days, he has not responded, and I don't know if he's unfriended me or not, but I guess he's chosen not to respond, or And the whole thing is like I'm not looking for an instigation, but I was also sometimes I'll make an anti-Trump post and I get like a little knot in my stomach, meaning like, oh shit, I'm gonna have to fucking argue with my friend online. But I guess that's the way it's been for the past couple of years. There's people, a lot of people have lost friends or become real disenfranchised with people that they know and love because this shit is nonsense. But I think this past week has proven, and I hate to be like the I told you so kind of, actually, no, I love being the I told you so kind of guy.
You do.
I love being the I told you so kind of guy. And, this past week has proven, how fanatical and how these people live in a fucking alternate reality where they don't want to accept, this was a highly supervised and moderated and observed election. This past election was the most people came out, and Trump could have easily put that in his pocket and said, you know what, this is the biggest election, and okay, yes, I lost by 6 million, 7 million votes or whatever, but I have a good chunk of people that came out to support me, and then and it's not like, even for all the shit that Trump has done, and this is, like I mentioned last episode about Rudy Giuliani, he could have easily, after he left the office, of course he's going to have a lot of fucking criminal proceedings to go to, he could have easily, write a couple books, do speaking engagements, he still has a fucking fan, he has a fan base, and for some reason, he's decided to fucking incite riots and invite people to even though he may not have flat out said go and burn down the fucking Capitol building, but he invited his fan base to come out to that rally on the 6th. Rudy Giuliani saying, we're gonna have a trial by what did he say? Oh my goodness! What did Giuliani say? Trial by fight and trial by fight? No.
Trial by combat.
Trial by combat. Telling people, pretty much telling people to go down to the Capitol and demand and saying like, if Pence doesn't do what I need him to do, that's sort of his fault, and when you have such a dangerous fucking fan base and you say something like, I'm gonna leave it in his hands, like, that's almost like a mafia don, like a mafia don saying like, hey, it's out of my hands, you got to take it up with him. And there were people literally chanting, "Hang Pence!" They fucking built the gallows. They built a fucking noose and a support for it. People chanting, hang Pence, which, Pence was his right-hand man. I mean, Pence was literally his vice president. I mean, here's a guy, that was ride or die for the past 4 years. And, Trump is so fucking with his head up his ass that he didn't, the minute Pence might go against him, he fucking dropped Pence like a bad habit. And kind of threw him under the bus.
I don't think it was, I think it was more or less the fact that, he wanted so badly to try to be president for longer that he thought that, somehow Pence could do that. And Pence looked at him and was like, I can't do that. Like, legally, look at the Constitution. Like, he literally, like, spells it out to him. Like, listen, dude, like, this is what I'm trying to show you. Like, you're not seeing what I'm trying to show you. Well, no. Let me tell you this again. Do you see... You see this right here? Mm-hmm. Like, this is the law. I can't do anything for you.
Yeah, and don't be wrong. Pence lives in his own bullshit fantasy world. But at least, like, what you're saying is that even Pence recognizes the law's the law, and I'm not going to fucking break the law. Because Pence was never a lawbreaker. He's a religious fucking nut. He's the kind of guy, if he's thinking that, if someone's gay, you could just keep praying and then they'll stop being gay. He's a nut in that fucking world. But Pence was never really a criminal. Of course, he turned a blind eye to a lot of shit. But yeah, like you're saying, he's like, what do you want me to do? Like, Trump was basically saying, like, I want you to break the law for me because we're part of my team, and you got to.
And you can't, like, he didn't understand that, like, no, I literally can't touch this. Like,
yeah, you got to be a team player.
You're asking me to do this. Like, I can't. Please stop.
Yeah.
And I got that. I completely got that. But it's just like, you need to also understand that, like, your actions have consequences, and you see what happened. He fucked up.
Go on. I'm sorry.
He fucked up. He doesn't have any social media now. Trump doesn't. He's, tonight I literally watched a video before we, came on where he's sitting there saying, "Oh, I'm sorry."
Yeah, and the funny thing is, in my notes, and I wrote these notes this afternoon. We're recording this at night. I swear to God, on the end of, like, my political notes, I have in capital letters, Trump still hasn't renounced the rioters, which I can't say that now because he did technically on paper, and he made that announcement. It was so obvious that it was like, he's reading a teleprompter, he's reading a pre-written statement, because when Trump talks, extemporaneously, he talks out of his ass, and he talks bigly and everything, and he moves his hands around, and this was obviously a pre-written statement, very likely not written by him, hitting all his bases just so, because and let me tell you, bro, I spent the 4 hours or whatever when they were going through the impeachment vote. I watched the whole fucking thing. Well, I missed a little bit in the beginning because I was taking care of shit, but, like, I had my TV on and I was listening to everything. And, all these people, everyone's opposing to Trump, saying he's inciting a riot. So I think it's sort of like, yeah, and mind you, he's making this fucking announcement a week after all this shit, and now he's renouncing the fucking actions. Yeah. Renounce that. And it's like a little too fucking late, man. You should have done this from, there should have been breaking news when all this shit was popping off. It should have been.
It's not just that, though. It's the fact that he fucking, it takes a man losing money in his company to fucking get this shit done. Like, I don't get it. Like, how, like, is it that you just see everything as money and you can't fucking see that you're about to, like, fucking lose? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
That's how serious this shit is. Like, you just, not only did you lose all your social media, but people, like the PGA is pulling the one event that they're going to have at one of the Trump places. Mm-hmm. They pulled that out. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. It's like,
and the whole thing is like, okay, let's just say in a magical world he doesn't get any kind of criminal convictions after. Let's just say he's a totally free man for the rest of his life. He's been banned from life from Twitter and Facebook and all these social media platforms. What job are you going to have? I mean, because he's not a good real estate businessman. He's notorious for being on TV, for being a personality, for being, And, you know, I mean, of course, the metrics may change in a couple of years, but right now, if you don't have a Twitter following, if you don't have a social media following, no one gives a shit about you. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, we're doing the podcast right now, and I'm watching. I have CNN up here, and like, there's 3 congressmen. I just went away because now whatever, but like, one of them's Representative Mo Brooks. There's like 2 other ones that helped organize this little protest that they had. And people are going, and when somebody here on CNN said earlier, like, oh, if they don't have lawyers, they're going to be getting lawyers because they're going to be screwed. And you know, that's the thing. Like, but see, what bothers me, like, if I were, I'm gonna be honest with you, if I were a congressman. And I went on the floor to speak. First of all, I'd be like, listen, I need 2 or 3 minutes. Give me 2 or 3 minutes to talk. Second of all, what I would say is the 2 reasons I would impeach Donald Trump. Number 1, you're threatening my colleagues across the aisle and the other party. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, some of these people are voting because they don't want to have Trump supporters come after them. Yeah. You realize that, right?
Because that's
like,
a dangerous thing. That's a scary thing right now, is that, like,
that's sad.
It's not if something will happen, it's when's going to be the next fucking, you know, suicide bomber or or shit like that. Like, that's what I'm worried about. Guys fucking driving their fucking pickup trucks into buildings and shit, like Timothy McVeigh motherfuckers. But go on, I'm sorry.
I'm not worried about that. What I'm worried about, and you know, first of all, let me just say, like, these congressmen that are fucking delusional, like, they're gonna get screwed, man. They're gonna get screwed hard. But
okay, you're talking about the ones that they're still writing with Trump.
Those three that I'm talking about, those ones are they're probably gonna be brought up on charges. But here's the funny thing, like, people keep so number 1, you're talking about how you're scared of you're scared of, like, you know, some suicide bomb. I'm not scared of that. What I'm scared of is the fact that our national security didn't pick up on this. What else did they not pick up on? Like, what else out in the world, not just here in the United States, but out in the world, did they not pick up on? And by the way, if the biggest thing that you're worried about is a fucking terrorist coming from Afghanistan or Iraq, they're looking at us right now and laughing.
Oh, yeah.
Why the hell did you send somebody in? Like, even if they had Dalai Lama in you know, living somewhere in the United States, like, you know, like, why would they even...
Yeah, they're just watching us crumble. They're watching us crumble, laughing.
Why would they even bother? There's no reason to bother. Like, you know, you're talking about sending people into a war zone, basically. And you know, okay, fine, maybe I'm going a little too far here, but you know, it's stupid. Honestly,
yeah,
you know, it just makes me annoyed because it's like,
what I'm just saying is, you got states that have like open carry, and you got places, you know, guys are stockpiling. Guys have stockpiled arms. You know, there are guys who have ridiculous weapons collections. You know, not to mention, and that's just illegal shit. What about, you know, guys with pipe bombs? Guys, once again, guys who are willing to die for the fucking cause. You know, they're being whipped into a frenzy. You know, guys are going to be irritated when they see President Biden. You know, people are going to be irritated. Well, I mean, you know, when they see Vice President Kamala Harris. You know, they're going to be so angry, and younger, angrier guys are going to be whipped into such a fucking fury. You know, especially after Trump loses, that, you know, it's a cult. It's like cult members. But go on,
for me, it's not even that. It's the fact that, like, you're looking at. So, like, for example, people are complaining that, you know, okay, well, because they were white, they didn't notice that this was going to happen. I call bullshit on it. You're giving the government a fucking way out.
Yeah.
You need to go deeper into this. Like, I'm telling you right now, our national security is fucked. And until Biden gets it under control, we're fucked. Yeah. Like, and then, that should scare everybody. Don't sit here and talk about, well, they were racist or black and white or whatever. It's deeper than that. It's deeper than racism. It's our national security that we're talking about. That's what should wake you up in the middle of the night. Like, Trump does not have control over this country, and people are going willy-nilly all out in the, you know, doing whatever. And, you know, do I think that somebody's going to try to shoot at Biden right now? Yeah. But do I think that because of what happened a week ago tonight, that somebody is actually going around and making sure that doesn't happen? Yeah. So I guess it's a blessing in disguise. But for me, it's more or less for me, like, we need to, from now on, go into this and look at, you know, who we are and say to ourselves, what do we need to worry about right now? Because the problem isn't Trump. The problem is that we're a shitty country. And
it's not Trump. It's his followers. It's the people who like.
Trump has exposed, and I've said this several times. People get pissed at me for saying this, but Trump has exposed what we are. Like, has exposed the stupidity of our country. Let's just be honest. Like, he's exposed who we are as a country.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that's embarrassing. You know what I mean? That's really fucking embarrassing. Like, how is it that we have all these idiots going to the Capitol with no knowledge of how the fucking electoral college or our voting system, for that matter, works, and then going in and attacking the Capitol, basically? I mean, it just, to me, it's very infuriating to see that, and then to see these Republicans, because it is all Republicans, not all of them, I should say, but most of them, they go in there and they're like, oh, well, we're still voting to help Trump. Why?
Putting party before country, like, you know, putting party before common sense.
Like, I don't get that. Like, how is it that, like, how are you not paying attention? Like, it goes to show how many people don't do their research, how many people will believe anybody that will say anything,
mm-hmm.
but also people we're just morons. We're fucking morons. And here's the thing, like, that's not just exclusive to America. Look at these idiots out in the UK, for example, who are walking around, you know, still the coronavirus numbers are going up. You know, it's one of those things where you sit there and you look and you go, is everybody really that stupid?
Yeah.
Like, at one point, like, we had like almost 1,000 cases in one day here in Rochester, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting here looking at my phone, looking at my girlfriend, going, are we that really fucking stupid? Like,
yeah, and I'm telling you, and once again, you know, it's shit I see on Facebook where it's like, and I hate to say it, it's Alabama, it's Florida, it's, you know, these southern states. I want to say Texas, but not. I've seen, and maybe it's just because I have more friends in Florida. But, you know, people going to the beach. You know, because, like, you know, around New Year's, the weather was halfway decent in Florida. People went to the fucking beach, and my friend posted a picture, and there's like just crowds, just people just chilling at the beach. You know, people going to bars, people going, you know, going to all these events, and it's like, you know, I'm glad to see that, you know, you think that fucking coronavirus is over, because there's people who are living their lives as if nothing has changed, and it blows my fucking mind. Like you were saying. And
it's just, and it's, you know, it's like the governor of the Florida, like, he's hiding fucking numbers.
Mm-hmm.
But then I got people in Florida telling me, well, you know, we get to do this, and this, and the numbers are extravagant, and other people are looking at him like, yeah, right, dude, you have one of the highest COVID outbreaks in the fucking United States right now. Like, it's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like when, you know, it's like these people fucking, I know we're kind of bouncing around here, but fuck it, we haven't done this in like, it's like these fucking people that are sitting here complaining about, oh, well, my restaurant's not fully open here in Rochester, so I need it to open. Nobody fucking cares. Like, I'm not gonna go to your restaurant. I'm not gonna go into a fucking restaurant. I'll buy something from your restaurant. But by you sitting there saying to me, like, oh, I want to open my business so that way I can make money, I'm just sitting here going, well, you're not making money for me. You know what I mean? It's just it's absolutely fucking ridiculous. Like, they want to try to open indoor whatever. Dude, we have almost 1,000. We almost had 1,000 cases. Like, luckily it seems to be evening out around like 400 now, which still is bad per day, but, you know, it's better than fucking, what, 800?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it's the failure of leadership. It's, you know, had Trump in the beginning stopped saying it was a fucking hoax and stopped saying, oh, we're going to be good by Easter, and actually listen to the fucking scientists, you know, and maybe and led by example by actually wearing a fucking mask, and instead of holding, you know, I think they said Trump had 600 rallies in the past 4 years, you know, and it's sort of like, you know, and I mean, just saying, obviously, I'm speaking of rallies in the past year, you know, none of them did he come out in a mask. and none of them did he come out and like tell people, hey, wear your mask and stuff like that. He could have led by example, and the funny thing is all these guys, who fucking stormed the Capitol all got caught on film, and it was very easy to fucking identify them because they weren't wearing masks.
That's the other thing I was gonna say is real quick. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because people are sitting here going, well, these guys aren't going to get caught and thrown in jail. I've seen 30, 40 people get thrown into jail.
Mm-hmm.
First of all. Second of all, people don't realize that, there were people looting. Yeah, there were people that were stealing things. And by the way, that's wrong. I don't want anybody fucking doing that. That's the same thing as rioting and doing what they did at the Capitol. But here's the difference. At the Capitol, that's federal charges. So that small little thing, law that you broke when you looted something, at a federal level, that's 5 to 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's 5 to fucking 10 years, no questions asked. So guess what? These idiots are going away for a while. So if you don't think that the federal government's sending a message by arresting all these idiots, they arrested a representative from West Virginia. A U.S. swimmer, I guess, too, was there. What a fucking idiot. Like, he's getting arrested. Like, it's you trespassed on a federal building that was closed. Whether or not you did anything doesn't matter. You trespassed. You're going away for a while. And guess what? We got to teach people. We got to do this because guess what? Now these people that go out and protest and then loot and whatever, they're going to look at this and go, oh shit, we don't want to be in that situation because federal charges are federal charges, dude. You're fucked. That's where you're fucked real quick. And I just think that people need to take a step back and just kind of look at it and go, okay, this is a serious situation, and I'm not going to do that because that's what people need to learn from this, honestly. But yeah, I mean, it's not one of those things where it's I don't know. It's just we need to stop kind of just making it more than it is and just see it from where it is. But from like a COVID angle, like there's already been like 3 Democratic congressmen and women that have gotten COVID-19 because these fucking Republicans aren't wearing their masks.
Yeah, now they're getting fined.
Yeah, and then that's the other thing too. Like, yeah, okay, fine. If you want to, go after Trump, I'm fine with that. But we need to go after these congressmen too, like Ted Cruz. I can't think of the other guy, the other senator. No, I got to think of who it was that was still contesting things even after the siege.
Well, that's one thing I don't understand is these Republicans that are still backing Trump. Trump incited guys to break into that building, and let me tell you, Jim Bob from Tennessee doesn't know. If you're a Republican fucking senator or a Democratic senator, he had, luckily security did what they had to do. They all got evacuated to the basement or whatever. Obviously they had plans for stuff like this. But Trump, Republicans could have got hurt in that fucking siege also. If I knew somebody, if I knew somebody that sent somebody to my job to blow up my building, to blow up where I worked, I don't give a fuck what loyalty I had to him before that. You sent guys to where I work to fucking fuck shit up, and they don't know who I am. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, Jim Bob from Tennessee doesn't know Republican senator from Democratic senator. You saw these guys with handcuffs. The flexi cuffs to take hostages. I'm really surprised. I'm really, really, really surprised more guys didn't fucking raid with guns. Because these guys tend to be the big gun fanatics, Second Amendment, NRA guys. I am so surprised more guns weren't involved. I mean, I'm glad they weren't, but, I'm glad, I'm surprised there wasn't fucking shootouts with cops and shit like that, with these wannabe G.I. Joe, Gravy SEALs, Meal Team 6 guys, because they all have hard-ons for their guns. I'm so surprised that in this particular case, more people weren't shot, and so, something I wanted to, I know we were talking about COVID, but, I put this video on my Facebook page, and it was while the riots were going on and while people were attacking the Capitol, Donald Trump Jr. Streamed from his phone, and it's like, it was like a party. These people were at a party. There was music playing in the background. Kimberly Guilfoyle was fucking like dancing for the camera, and Donald Jr. was like, "Oh yeah, this is for the patriots that are tired of the bullshit." And keep up, and then even Kimberly Guilfoyle was like, yeah, keep up the good work, or keep. I had it have it here in my notes, but she basically, they were encouraging it, and calling these people patriots, people that are storming a building that are could possibly be attacking senators and representatives. And it's like, that's a crime. You call them a patriot, and just because they're not backing your side. Oh shit! Hold on, my microphone fell. Just because they're not backing your side doesn't mean that, Did I lose you?
No, I'm still here.
Okay. Sorry, my cat's attacking me while I'm trying to fucking talk. But shit, lost my train of thought. Stupid cat. But just because they're attacking people that, it's not like they're just attacking a Democratic, they're attacking the whole fucking building where your people, the Republican representatives and senators are at, and I would be having a shit fit right now if I knew that the president fucking, incited a riot where I was working, and then, and we're supposed to be on the same team, So it's just, it's fucking disgusting. And, what you mentioned earlier about, the riots and the other riots that were earlier this year, and I'm getting really fucking sick and tired of that argument. I really, these guys and what they did last Wednesday or a week ago has nothing to do with Black Lives Matter. You know what I'm saying? Their anger and their frustrations and the attempted coup that they had on this government has nothing to do with Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter is its own separate thing that, and you could sit here and, people just want to throw bottles and cans and shit like that. Fine. The original people who started the protests, the people who were out there peacefully, the people who organized these events, were organizing events to stop systemic racism and, and oppression. They were there for good reasons. Everybody part of this thing was part because their guy didn't win. And it's like, those are two separate fucking worlds. Black Lives and there's like this argument, like, and once again, that reminds me of my friend that I haven't spoken to now. He's they can, if they could, he pretty much said, if they can riot, why can't we? Or like, they started it, and that's like fifth grade bullshit. They started it. Yeah. They what they do, even if there was no Black Lives Matter fucking riots, I'm pretty sure these guys would have still done what they did because of their guy didn't win. Their guy stirred them in a frenzy. For some reason, this has turned into a black-white thing, and it's not a black-white thing. This is your guy didn't win, and to the point where he obviously wants you to commit criminal acts, and he wants you to fucking be so brainwashed like a fucking cult member that you will attack your own country because your guy didn't win, and like a cult leader, lying to his followers, filling them with fucking bullshit stories, keep saying, they robbed us, and go back and telling these people, fight for your country and take back your country. And it's like, this was a highly supervised and monitored fucking vote, and the whole world was watching, and these people were so brainwashed, and once again, has nothing to do with Black Lives Matter. And these are white, angry Republican, the guys who live in the fucking flyover states, frustrated, angry, this attack, it wasn't Muslims, wasn't Mexicans, wasn't Antifa. These, it's fucking Proud Boys. It's fucking, these guys who, and once again, I understand you're frustrated and you want to protest and stuff like that, but, these guys were planning it. This was a planned event. There were guys wearing shirts that said MAGA Civil War January 6th. They made merchandise for this fucking thing. This was organized. These people came from obviously all over the country. And to show up with, there were guys there with gas masks on. There were guys there. They were protesters pepper spraying the police. And once again, I thank God it wasn't firearms. I'm so surprised there wasn't firearms there. And, when...
there was firearms there. You didn't know that?
I mean, I'm just saying I'm just so surprised it wasn't like, 40 shot, or something like that, I mean, obviously, from the protesters' point of view, like, protesters weren't shooting police because, and that worries me because now I'm worried that shit may escalate. And the next time some shit does happen, it's going to be protesters shooting police, because these guys have such a fucking hard on for their Second Amendment. And the Second Amendment, to keep the government from a tyrannical government. But, if you brainwash people into thinking that the government's being tyrannical when it's not, it was a free and fair election. But these guys are thinking that they're being under siege by tyrants. They're gonna come out guns ablazing, thinking that their country's being, by someone telling, oh, your country's being stolen from you. And it's that fucked up powerlessness that's gonna twist the fucking mind of someone who owns a gun. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna take my country back.
Yeah, I mean, you have to keep in mind that another angle to this is that this was all fucking planned. Like, somehow somebody did something where they were like, here's how we're gonna do this shit. And the problem
they tweeted out where Nancy Pelosi was.
Yeah.
I think they tweeted out like where the ballots were. There's rumors right now, and I don't want to speculate, but there's rumors that there were people on the inside. There were people.
Yeah, and that's the thing that's why I'm saying to you, Chris, like, this is some scary shit now. Like, I mean, if we're not picking up on these fucking people, like, what the hell is going on? And if we did know about these people, like apparently the FBI did, then why didn't we do something about it? Because Trump said no? And that's the other thing you got to investigate. If Trump said no to that, then you better be fucking, you better be saying something about that, because it's like, that just, no.
And why was the National Guard held back for so long? The National Guard, as soon as fucking one window was broken, as soon as the first window was broken, you could have people standing around, and I mean, not that, okay, that's obviously, it's threatening enough to have people standing around when there's cops telling you to stand back or whatever. But, once the first fucking person walked into that building, and it didn't look like it was going to stop. The National Guard should have been, and they're saying they were held back. Well, who the fuck held them back? And who said no? And who said,
exactly.
why did it take so fucking long?
Well, and that's the funny thing. Like, some of the Republicans were sitting there saying, well, we need to do a commission to investigate all of this. And I'm like, yeah, you can still make a commission and investigate all this, but Trump has to be fucking impeached. And that's the thing, like, I felt like some of the senators, even Pelosi, like, they kind of missed something by saying, and this is another thing I would say if I were representative, is, listen, it's not about Trump. It's about the next fucking president that tries to do this shit. Like, if we need to send a message now that a president can't fucking do what Trump just did. Mm-hmm. Like, we can't let him do that. That's why this impeachment happened, not because, Democrats are, oh, we need to find another way to impeach him. Nobody cares about that. The man has, well, it's going to be now less than a week left. Like, why do I care about the fucking him leaving? I don't care about him leaving. Like, I'm not going to impeach him because of that. I'm impeaching him because he stirred up a crowd. They went to the Capitol and they almost killed politicians. But mind you, 4 people that died out of the 5 were Trump supporters. Mm-hmm. Like, so not only did you fail, but 4 of your people died. One of the other person, which is the 5th person, was a police officer from the Capitol Police. Mm. So now you're looking at this whole situation going, yeah, maybe we shouldn't have done this. Like, it just blows my mind. I mean, we have 20,000 troops right now in the Capitol.
Yeah.
Like, that's they were just showing, like, that's more than what we have, in Iraq, Afghanistan.
Yeah, they said we have more like in DC than we do in other countries.
Overseas, yeah. Like, like, you want to talk about sad? Like, that's some sad shit right there.
Well, that's and let's talk about that. The officer that was killed, in the line of duty, doing his job, and the other officer, and I shared that video earlier this week, just getting beaten by the fucking crowd, dragged, beaten with American flags, beaten with Trump flags, people throwing things. You know, these are supposed to be the Blue Lives Matter people. These are supposed to be the All Lives Matter people. And you're gonna kill a cop in the line of duty? You're going to assault the cop? These people were literally carrying the Blue Lives Matter flag as they bum rushed into the fuck. I mean, they were also carrying Trump flags and fucking Confederate flags. But, you know, these are the people, like, and the whole thing is that, like, when you see that video of the cop getting beat, do you see anyone trying to shield him? Do you see anyone, like, you know, I mean, obviously, if you're with a mob mentality, you know, it would be crazy to throw yourself on top of the cop and try to save his life or whatever the case may be. But you don't see that. Whatever happens to Blue Lives Matter, all of a sudden, when the cops happen to get in their way, now Blue Lives don't matter anymore. You know, these people are fucking hypocrites, and, you know, they love it when, you know, black guy gets fucking, you know, choked out because he gets what he gets. But, you know, when these people just ransack the Capitol building, cops doing the illegal, you know, this wasn't some cop overstepping his boundaries. It's a cop trying to stop people from getting into the fucking Capitol building. You know, there was that footage of the one cop that's like trapped in the door and he's like yelling and stuff like that. He's been getting like crushed and stuff like that. And, you know, these fucking hypocrites, all of a sudden, Blue Lives don't matter. And you would think, you know, another cop that was beaten with a fucking fire extinguisher, you know, and this is gonna sound, because in the video of the cop getting beaten, it looked like he fucking got killed. I mean, I think he's alive or whatever, but, you know, it would be one thing, you know, if you had you're so full of rage or whatever, you know, there's no reason to beat the fucking cop. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're filled with your righteous indignation, detain the cop, hold him. There's 50 of you and one cop. You could have all held him down. You know what I'm saying? You know, you didn't have to kill him. If Blue Lives mattered, you wouldn't have fucking done this. You wouldn't have participated. People fucking cheered while the cops got fucking beaten. Now, of course, yes, there is the footage of like cops kind of like just walking away from the fucking barrier, you know, and there is and I'm not gonna, you know, okay, you know, because I am, you know, I've always been pro police, you know, but there is that fucking video of like one cop almost like waving people towards the building. That's caught on tape. There's the fucking piece of shit cop that's actually taking selfies with the fucking rioters. Yep. That being said, okay, those are the few fucking pieces of shit, low-life scumbags who should not be wearing a fucking badge. I also shared footage of tons of cops at the fucking barrier trying to fucking hold shit down, you know, fighting with people, tussling with people, you know, trying to spray pepper spray, you know, and I once again, I'm so surprised the cops didn't just start pulling out their guns and start bucking at the fucking crowd, because this, you know, and once again, I think there's that mentality of, and not to say give up, but it's like we're outnumbered. Even if all of us shot every bullet that we have, we can't kill everybody. We might as well just fucking resign ourselves out of the way because we're outnumbered. And if we start shooting, you know, God knows what's going to happen. So I almost understand those cops that kind of just gave up after a while, because it's sort of like, what are you going to do? There's fucking, you know, thousands of people here and there's, you know, 50 cops. You know, but, you know, I mean, besides those couple of piece of shit cops that, like I said, the guy waving people towards the fucking Capitol. But what I saw a majority of good fucking cops trying to do their fucking job, and the crowd who are allegedly Blue Lives Matter supporters, you know what I'm saying? Because they're all lumped, you know, MAGA, Blue Lives Matter, all that shit. You know, they showed their true colors. They showed how true pieces of shit they are, that when someone gets in their way, someone who's following the letter of the law, doing their job on fucking duty, gets beaten in the line of duty, gets killed in the line of duty because of these fucking pieces of shit.
I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, you know, how is it that these officers had to do this alone? You know, how is it that, you know, like, how is it that we had to see that? Like, how is it that these officers are even, like, they should all be given medals, honestly. Like, I just, the good ones, the ones that were actually doing their job, is I just don't get, like, how the hell these officers were basically left out to fend for themselves. Mm-hmm. It should have never happened. We should never have been put in that position. And, you know, it's one of those things that just makes me, again, sit there and go, who the hell held people back? Or is this really like a national security nightmare that I need to, be aware of? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
It's one of those things where I'm like, I'm scared. I'm really scared. I'm just really scared that it's going to blow up in our face, and I just don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
I keep going back to it, but it's just, to me, that bothers me, man. Like, we're not talking about racism here. We're talking about a slip up in national security, and that should worry everyone.
Yeah.
Like, look at the bigger picture. Look at the bigger picture before you start saying racism here.
Yeah, and I mean, not, that footage of that, like, one black cop that he's trying to keep back, like, a whole crowd of people, and they're like going up the stairs, and he backs up a little bit, and then, like, you see he's checking his left, he's checking his right, and there's no one there, and it's one guy versus fucking 50, 60 people all rushing up the stairs, and when you watch that, it breaks my fucking heart. And I mean, it's not just because he's black, but it's, there's an extra layer on top of that where all these guys are bum rushing you, and you're a cop, and you're black, and you're in your way, and you're trying to hold your fucking ground, and these people kept pushing him back, and he had to basically give up the ground because he was outnumbered, and fucking survival instincts kick in, and like, okay, I'm not gonna fucking fight, because if I fight, I'm gonna die. Okay, so then, so now the FBI is doing an investigation. Luckily, Parler has been taken down. Parler couldn't keep their fucking shit together, and I'm very glad that these large platforms and Apple, I usually hate Apple and the Apple Store and Google Store and stuff like that, but they were smart enough to take Parler down, because I think they recognized that if that was to go left unchecked, that would have been just a network of people. Now, of course, the internet's the internet. I mean, Facebook is Facebook. There's bulletin boards. There's email. There's tons of ways people can still get in contact with each other. But thank God Parler has been taken down, because that's like the main street. That's like, inviting people down Main Street to fucking come and intervene and do shit like those rioters did on the 6th. Now, luckily, they said that there were hackers who went into Parler, and from what I understand, Parler was like such an easy to hack fucking like app. Those guys, they jumped into it way before they had no idea what they were doing. So like, hackers hacked Parler like it was like a fucking a kid's game to them. They recorded a lot of stuff that these guys had to say, and that they were doing their planning, and hopefully and then what those hackers have done is they've turned over that information to the FBI, and the FBI is going to fucking find these people. And once again, I repeat stuff that I've already posted on Facebook, but that's because this is why I put on the show. It's sort of, okay, what happened last week was a fucking insurrection against the United States. People who were at that insurrection were flying Trump flags, were wearing MAGA hats, and once again, and to prove what a fucking cult that they are, they literally took down an American flag and replaced it with a Trump flag to show that they're loyal to their cult and not to this country. That being said, I think the FBI should label people who have MAGA hats on as like gang members. Insurrection member, like these people anyone with a MAGA hat should be treated like they're a fucking member of a gang.
You got to be careful with that one, though, man. Like, you can't say that every single person you can't say every single person that wears a Trump hat is. Basically, let's just say what they are, terrorists at this point.
Yeah.
But I mean, you got to be careful with how you say that, because it's not necessarily true.
And it's hard because a lot of cops will fucking wear MAGA hats, when they're off duty.
That's another thing too. A lot of these people are being brought up, like these police departments are looking at them and going, okay,
yeah.
like.
Because it's this mentality like, oh, Trump, and once again, I refer to my friend because that's just like the most recent revelation. I'm like, oh, and he, way before all this shit really popped off, he'd made a post like, I support Trump because, when Obama was in office, I had to pay this amount of taxes, and when Trump was in office, I paid, I believe the number was like $3,000 less in taxes. But at what expense? Look at the country the way it is now. Look at the way COVID is affecting businesses and shit like that. And let's just say to be honest with you, since I make nothing. I'm just above fucking poverty level. I make just enough where I can't collect food stamps right now. okay, so you personally, you save $3,000 a year, and all these other Trump supporters save $3,000 a year. These hardworking Joe regular guys. But what expense? You supported Trump, who let COVID ravage this country. So if you're a business owner, I would fucking hate Trump because he should have been on the fucking ball, and now because of him and his stupidity, COVID now has destroyed my business. So was that $3,000 worth it? People have invaded the Capitol as if they were fucking to stage a fucking coup in this country. Is that worth it? Is that worth the $3,000 that you saved in the year to let our country fucking go? And because these people, they want to make Donald Trump dictator. You know what I'm saying? They want Donald Trump to run this country. I don't know why, because he's their guy. He's like a cult. I don't understand what these people manage to gain from, if $3,000 a year, I would much rather pay $3,000 extra a year and still have people that are, and still have people that are alive, from the people that died from COVID, everyone who's lost a family member or a loved one and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure I'd rather pay an extra $3,000 a year and have that family member still alive than, these people, they've been brainwashed like a fucking cult. And it's like, what do you stand to gain from having Donald Trump as a leader? Are you that upset that we're going to have a female black vice president? Because everyone's worried that Joe Biden's going to kick the bucket because he's just an old man. And then we're going to have a female black. These are the people that fumed for years under Obama. They hated his fucking guts. But is it? Do you hate him that much that you're giving up? You're giving away America? Because you hate black people that much? Is it that fucking bad? They're fueled by this weird like boogeyman, like, the Muslims are coming, the Mexicans are coming, Antifa is coming, and they think that, and meanwhile, what they're doing, what those rioters did on January the 6th was worse than anything. Okay, 9/11, all right, okay, let me strike that. 9/11 was fucking absolutely horrible. 9/11 tainted the soul of this country. It was Pearl Harbor tainted the soul of this country. Okay, other than gigantic events like that, those guys did. And look, Muslims didn't fucking walk into the Capitol building, just walk in. Mexicans didn't just walk into the Capitol building. They're so scared of these fake boogeymen who are no real threat. And give power to a fucking psycho, and then they, and they in turn get empowered to fucking do ridiculous shit like invade the fucking Capitol. Okay, we got, then the funny thing is they wanted to blame it on Antifa. Now all these, well, as much as they're investigating, all these dummies are now on no-fly lists, which is great.
Yeah,
those are great videos to watch people. And then, like, there's the one video of the woman getting arrested and she's resisting the cops and stuff like that. And it's like, people are so quick to say, like, if that, and look, we've done that also. When the, you and I, we've had an episode literally called "Comply Then Complain." These people are getting arrested and they're resisting the fucking cops. And for whatever reason, the cops didn't shoot them. Which I watch this video like, why aren't the cops shooting these fucking Karens in the middle of the fucking airport, tearing shit up because they're getting arrested? The cops should have shot those people. You know what I'm saying? And I understand the systemic racism and all this other stuff, but black people will tend to get shot quicker than a white person. But I'm like, shoot those white people, please. Because you're resisting arrest, and yes, if it was a black person resisting the way they're resisting, they probably that black person would have gotten shot. But I'm so glad Parler went down. Trump.
It was a weird platform in the first place, anyways.
Yeah, and it was only going to fucking lead. It was only going to lead to problems. Once again, arguing with my friend, he's like, "Oh, you should renounce the Black Lives Matter." And obviously, anyone who listens to this show, I'm not a big giant Black Lives Matter proponent, But if it pisses off the fucking the MAGA hat wearing people, then yeah, I'll be more than happy to fucking support Black Lives Matter. I do it more just to piss off the red hats than to be But once again, Yeah, you want me to renounce them? Fine. I renounce the rioters and the people who destroyed property and threw bottles at the cops and the Black Lives Matter. Now is your turn to renounce the actions of these people who committed federal crimes, who tried to destroy this country. I'd much rather have people destroy a target than overthrow the democracy and kill senators.
Right.
If you're a Trump supporter, you should publicly renounce what those guys did on the 6th. Like if I was a Trump supporter, I would say, look, I love Trump. I think he did great for this country. Because of him, I paid $3,000 less a year in taxes. But what those guys did on the 6th was fucking ridiculous. I would go on social media and say that every fucking day. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to be associated with people who are trying to literally destroy this country.
Nobody does.
Yeah. These people, now these senators and representatives now understand what a building feels like when it's under siege. Hopefully in the future, when it comes down to stuff, when it comes to like school shootings and stuff like that, hopefully this will change a couple minds and hearts of people to understand, to feel how helpless and defenseless you feel in a building where people have guns on the outside and you don't, and you're on the inside. This does worry me about another coup or because they haven't caught all these people. You know what I'm saying?
They're almost done.
There are tons of people still walk on the streets, but there was a lot of people in that building. A lot of people were in there, and of course, investigations take time. It's not like you could magically, you can't just walk up to someone and put him in cuffs and say, you're under arrest. There is investigations being done. I'm pretty sure people are overwhelmed. The law investigation.
You can do that though. Like you can trust me, dude. Like a federal officer can go up and go, you're done. Goodbye.
And what about the guys who didn't make it? What about the guys? Okay, so now you have the guys who went to DC. Now you got the other people who at home for whatever reason they didn't go to DC on the 6th. But now they're gonna look at those rioters as like martyrs. They're gonna look at those rioters like, oh, those are our guys. They arrested our guys. They arrested my cousin. They arrested my brother. Or they arrested my coworker. And they could have what about the people who just happened to not go to DC that day? But fully are fully behind the cause. You know what I'm saying? Or brainwashed like the cult members that they are. I'm worried about those people. I'm worried about, people who still think this is a good fucking idea.
I don't think, I'm going to be honest with you, dude. I don't think we have to worry about very much. Like, I don't think we have to worry about them doing it. With Trump going out and saying something, I'm not as worried about some idiot coming down and attacking. But there again, I do feel that you have something that we need to look at and say, okay, is there going to be some idiot that still does this? The one thing that this is going to be crazy for me to say, and when I say it, you'll probably be like, oh shit, that actually makes sense. But I was thinking the other day, I was like, if you remember, like before this happened, we were talking about that terrorist attack that happened, or not. It really wasn't a terrorist attack. It was just some idiot committing suicide in Tennessee there.
Oh yeah, but he was a conspiracy nut over 5G. But I think once again, that's what happens when you could let fucking nuts conspiracy people. When you feed into conspiracy to a dangerous person. But go on, I'm sorry.
I was thinking, like, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I'm like, oh shit, is this like is this dude like, did this dude like fucking like all of a sudden like was he trying to like give cover to people so that the way they could go in, like this was like a distraction, you know what I mean? Like,
well, that's the pipe bombs that they found by the Capitol. Like they were worried that what they suspect the plan was is you go and you blow up a building 5 miles away from the Capitol, right? Something like that. The cops all go respond to the pipe bomb, and then you invade the Capitol. There's people. They're worried that there may be people doing strategic shit like that, where you have one horrible thing happen over here, and while all the law enforcement goes to quench that problem, then you attack the Capitol building,
Right. That's what I was thinking about that, and I'm like, I wonder if maybe that's what they were trying to do. Like, you know what I mean? Like, maybe that's what they were trying. That guy was trying to fucking, go. You know what? I'm gonna go fucking blow up this building, and I'm gonna go, do this, and we're gonna see what happens. And hey, I mean, dude, like, it's one of those things where it could be that could have been the case. You know what I mean? Like, we don't know. Mm-hmm. We don't know at all. We don't know, like, Yeah,
and mind you, all this stuff is happening just the day before all the shit happened. Trump calling Georgia, telling them to find 11,000 votes.
Yeah.
That seems to have fucking slipped under the radar after all this shit happened. Trump was trying to was fucking elite, trying to solicit votes. He's trying to get things changed in his favor, which is fucking ridiculous. What was I going to say? And once again, after the election in general, these people were saying like, we should abolish the Electoral College, which I don't know if I might have said that in another episode, but yes, please, let's abolish the Electoral College. I'm with you right there. If you want to get, it's funny how like they love this Electoral College in 2016, and in 2020 they want to get rid of it when it doesn't match their needs. Once again, just showing that you live in a reality where you do everything when it's convenient. And do you have anything else? I got one last thing to say, but I want to save it towards we're done.
I feel like we need to kind of just, look at the whole situation here and just kind of take a step back and make sure there should be there should be a commission set up to figure out what the fuck happened here, because I'm just going to say this right now. Like, I want to know if some motherfucker, was doing something and, if one of these idiots that's a senator or a house member or whoever, like, I want to know.
See how high it goes up the chain.
Exactly. I want to know if somebody was helping these people, because if not, like, they got to be tried.
Yeah, this is definitely a coordinated effort. I'm hoping the FBI does their job. It was coordinated, but it was organized, but it wasn't well organized, because obviously if it was organized enough, they would have won. They didn't win. We won. We stopped the uprising. Unfortunately, the National Guard was set out too late to actually arrest these cocksuckers and stuff like that. So a lot of people were able to go home, and these fuckers are still walking the streets. And once again, there are people who are the people who never decided to go to DC on the January the 6th, but still think that those people that did go are heroes and are martyrs. That's what scares me. And when I've had jobs in the past, there's people like, why do you want to impeach Donald Trump now? He only has 7 days left, and even by the time we even start an investigation, it wouldn't be till after he's out of office. Because I've had jobs where I've put in my 2 weeks notice. And they've literally told me, you know what, just go home. You'll get your paycheck for these 2 weeks. Just go home. Because they know, even when you work in a fucking bullshit place, you work in a fucking McDonald's or something like that, they know that if you're there and you have ill intentions, you can fuck shit up while you're still there. So it's easier for you to just sit at home and collect your fucking paycheck for those 2 weeks than, I'm fucking worried what the fuck Trump is going to do if he's not literally removed from office before Biden's inauguration. And I'm also curious, like, what is the inauguration going to be? I mean, they're not announcing it, but I know this sounds weird, and it's something my friend said. It should be a fucking private ceremony, or it should be like, from like deep inside the fucking like it shouldn't be a public event. And as much as and it sounds like we're giving it to the terrorists, because that's what we would be doing. But like, I mean, it should be like in a fucking bunker under the fucking White House. Okay, you want to have a video camera there, go right ahead. But I'm worried that if this is going to be a public event, and of course now people are on standby and shit like that, and that's all good. But I think just to avoid a problem, just fucking They have bunkers. I look, all the representatives were removed from they all had a place to go under the building, because you see them all running downstairs, and they all ended, well, not running, they were all guided downstairs to like their whatever panic room or whatever you want to call it. They have fortified defenses. Swearing Biden in from a fucking fortified defense, or let's not be all fucking bravado and have him do it like in public, because that's a scary fucking thing. Because and of course, that place is going to be swarming with law enforcement, both undercover and in uniform and well armed and stuff like that. But
the problem is if Biden does that,
it makes him look weak.
It makes him look weak, and he's not going to do that. And don't get it twisted. Those people have. You got to keep in mind here. What is it? Basically you got to keep in mind that they don't have what am I trying to say here? They're going to have like bulletproof barriers up, so that way nobody gets killed. They're going to have look at all the National Guard that are going to be around the Capitol anyways.
Yeah.
So there's no way that this guy is going to get killed. They're gonna make it so that way Trump. So they're getting rid of all of Trump's stink, so to speak, because Biden's going to be like in a hotel for a night because of all of this BS. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because Trump had to have coronavirus, so now they're going to clean the whole place and make sure that it's good, because they can't trust that this dude. That nobody else had coronavirus. And I understand that, but it's just one of those things where you just sit there and you look at it and you go, wow. just wow, But, it is what it is, man. It's 2021 is just the interesting part. The good thing is that we haven't really talked about, the good thing that we can say is at least we now have control over the Senate and the House. That's the good part. Yeah. But it's like.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Did you have anything else to say before we went to break? Because you kind of went right into what I wanted to talk about, and then I was gonna go to break.
Oh no, I don't have anything else.
Well, so Donald Trump said. He kept his promise. He said he's going to make America great again. And you know what? He did make America great again by giving us a blue Senate, a blue House, and a blue fucking president. In his own fucking weird way. He pushed the pendulum so fucking far. He pushed the fucking issue so far that, you know what? He actually did make America great again. Because, like I said, we have a Democratic Senate, Democratic majority House, and a Democratic president. We're going to get things fucking done. Okay, the Supreme Court. All right. We'll have to worry about that some other day. But he did make America great again. In his own weird way.
Yeah.
Let's just hope he doesn't start any more shit before he gets taken out of office. Before he peacefully transfers out of office, which, I don't know. I don't want to jinx it by the time we're talking about it on this podcast. But I think with that, we'll be back with more dick and fart jokes.
This episode of Two Strangers, One Podcast is brought to you by Comics Etc. 1115 East Main and North Goodman at the Hungerford Building, door number 8. Find out more information at comicsetc.biz or like them on Facebook at facebook.com/comicsetc1.
Did you ever see a film at such a young age it left you traumatized with cinematic wounds? Necrophilia. It's a dead issue, man. Don't push it. Cinema Psyops is a weekly podcast documenting an ongoing experiment on the mind of an unwilling test subject.
No one should have to watch this movie.
Oh, no one should have to watch this?
No one should have to watch this movie.
Surprisingly, it's not a topic that a lot of people really want to tackle.
I'm shocked, prudes.
I know, really.
Right?
It's the next sexual frontier that no one wants to explore.
I am, in the most sincerest of senses, disappointed in you.
It takes a powerful goddess like Connie, jam her arm down the monster's throat and kill it. Oh, I'm still tripping out over that. Even as a kid, I was like, I gotta find a girl like that. Every week, I get a new look of disappointment that I never thought I could get out of her.
Unimaginable. At 12 years old, you should not be watching this movie.
Obviously.
At 13, you should not be. 14, you shouldn't be. I'm not entirely sure even 17-year-olds should be watching this movie.
Just because you're offended by something doesn't mean that you have the right to demand that it doesn't exist. watching this film again, I had all of this like little nerd glee with everything that kept
Little
popping up.
history all popping up
absolutely.
at you.
So I totally loved this film.
Hey, I know why you couldn't see that. It's because your brain's warped from watching this shit at 12 years old.
Yeah, this is a rough movie. I told you ahead of time when we were getting ready to do it that it was
How
going to be
did
a
you
rough
watch
one.
this shit at 12?
Because physical wounds heal, cinematic ones don't. Listen to Cinema Psyops.
Victory Championship Wrestling presents Lethal Leap Year, on sale now for $9.99. Don't miss a single body slam or epic moment. Witness the showdown between Big Smooth and Johnny Slaughter for the BCW Championship. Go to bcwaction.com for the exclusive event, only found on bcwaction.com. And as an added bonus, the first 100 people to order this event will receive a free front row seat to the next event.
And we're back. All right, Paul. I don't want to say enough of the politics, but let's get on to some maybe not nerdy news, but other stuff that took the news while we were away for a month. The Twisted Tea guy. That was great. And, we all know that guy. The guy that got hit with Twisted Tea can, we all know that guy. That's the guy that always hangs out in front of the gas station, always wants to fucking bum a cigarette from you.
Jane Silent Bob.
Well, no, Jay and Silent Bob, Jay and Silent Bob were weed dealers, and not that there's anything, not that I'm supporting weed dealers either, but I'm saying is this guy, and the funny thing is, they kept saying, racist, keep saying N-word, and the whole thing is that I don't think people understand, and maybe it's because I've met that guy so many times, I've met guys just like that guy so many times. That guy was not racist in the way they were painting him. Yes, he was saying the N-word, but that guy wants to be black. That guy is a wigger, you know what I'm saying? I mean, that's a word I guess I can use. That's the kind of guy who listens to hip hop. He wants.
Or he's mentally ill. I thought he was mentally ill, honestly.
That's a guy he's probably smoked enough fucking PCP and crystal meth and all the shit. He's burnt his brain out. But that's the kind of guy where he was saying the N-word because he feels like, I'm just like you. He was saying N-word to the guy, and the funny thing is that guy was he's black, but that guy wasn't even black. He would look like he was Spanish or something. But, right. He was saying the N-word you and me are the same, so I'm not going to not say the N-word because you and me are the same. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of I hated that they kept saying that he was racist because he wasn't being racist. He honestly considers himself. And not that I'm saying, oh no, he's better and he shouldn't. I'm just saying that's the kind of guy he calls his own white friends N-words. You know what I'm saying? Oh, my nigga, hey, my nigga. He's one of those guys, and he probably has a steady diet of hip hop, and he listens to. He probably wants to be a rapper. He was saying it in a way that he was saying oh, I'm just like you, so I can say that word. And unfortunately, he said it to the wrong guy. That guy was ready to fucking clock him. It was so funny to see the guy actually dropping the Twisted Tea by accident. He wanted to clock him, and then the skinny white guy, the wigger, kicks the can. And he should have kicked it further away because then he wouldn't have got clocked at the fucking Twisted Tea. But I mean, tons of memes came out of there. That guy kind of fucking got what he deserved. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to know, you have to, sometimes you have to learn, some people, you could play that shit with some people and you can't play it with others. And he played it with the wrong fucking dude and he got fucking clocked for it. And so I think that was pretty fucking funny. All right.
Both were funny.
Yeah. I already spoke about the Alabama people. Christmas packages. I was getting Christmas, this year, people were sitting at home and no one's really, I didn't really do Christmas shopping per se. I mean, luckily, Walmart and stuff like that, all the stuff that was Black Friday kind of spread out over the month, and they didn't want people bum rushing the stores and stuff like that. So a lot of people were ordering packages. I mean, and that was just the way of the world, just in general, people buying stuff online and stuff like that. So, the UPS.
Yeah, why didn't you buy me some, bitch? What the fuck?
I haven't seen you. Still owe me a drink for my birthday last year. So I haven't seen you in person.
COVID happened, so I couldn't meet up with you.
But I mean, yeah, I'll get you a Christmas present and a birthday present, or whatever. But you know, I have to order it from Wish.com and wait a month.
No, I don't want.
But you know, it was just like, it was so ridiculous, like how things were fucking delayed, and like I still have one package that's been sitting in Newark, New Jersey since I literally ordered it November 12th. And it's still sitting in Newark, New Jersey. And I'm like, I'm not even going to bother calling for it because no one's going to help me. No one's going to help me find my little bullshit package. And luckily it wasn't something expensive and whatever. But like, I look at every couple of days, I look it up and it's still sitting in Newark, New Jersey. And so, you know, a lot of people got their packages late. You know, I got stuff that and once again, this is stuff I ordered in the middle of November, thinking, okay, I'll get it in the middle of December and I'll mail it to the person, you know, sending gifts to family members and stuff like that. And, you know, I didn't get it till fucking, you know, I got packages days before, like a day before Christmas, and I got packages, and my daughter got, two of the things I ordered for my daughter came after Christmas. But, you know, and you know, not to get back into political stuff, it didn't help that fucking Donald Trump was fucking trying to dismantle the post office anyway because of the mail-in votes. So, but, you know, it was just ridiculous this year with the packages. And, you know, hopefully next year, we'll be a little bit more prepared. I mean, of course, you know, hopefully by Christmas, COVID will not be as big as an issue, but I mean, people just in general are ordering stuff online from home now. we just do it. So, but it was crazy how just packages, and like I said, I literally have a package that's been sitting in fucking Newark, New Jersey since November.
Well, I mean, was that like I was trying to say, was that FedEx that was giving you the problem?
No, just the post office. All the stuff that I had coming from FedEx, I've gotten. FedEx was actually, the funny thing is, oddly, FedEx was alright. UPS, not so much. And then the weird thing is, I've had, and I posted this on Facebook, and I guess it happens to other people. I've had stuff that was ordered from UPS, and then it leaves the UPS system and goes into the post office. Like, yeah, so that's nuts.
Yeah, sometimes it'll go UPS and then
like it'll make it to Rochester.
So
in the UPS system, but then it's like transferred over to USPS system, and then they give you like a post office tracking number.
Well, and then like sometimes what was I gonna say? Fuck.
You gonna say FedEx? Are you gonna talk about FedEx? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean sometimes like, you know, the Amazon will use UPS and the regular mail too. It's very weird. But like FedEx, I've had nothing but problems with FedEx, and I know a lot of people that have had problems since the pandemic started. Mm-hmm. So
I mean, look, I understand. Look, I used to work for FedEx, so I wouldn't be surprised if there was problem. And once again, I think even this whole fucking season, I think I maybe had 2 or 3 packages come from FedEx, and I mean, luckily. Not that they came on time, but you know, it was like, you know, a day or 2 late, not sitting in Newark, New Jersey for 2 months. Okay, yeah. Nerdy news. Transformers: War for Cybertron Earthrise came out December 30th. Once again, friend of the show, George Christic, writer of the show. If you've been following the Transformers on Netflix, it's been really fucking good. My only complaint is that it was fucking short. It was only 6 episodes, you know, about half hour each. You know, I was watching it, and it was like the last episode, and I had to did I skip an episode or something? Like, you know, because I was just watching them. And I generally don't binge shows on Netflix. I sort of I'll watch a show a day. But I mean, I was digging it and stuff like that. You know, if you're an old school Transformers fan, it's basically almost, it's the story of the Transformers like they were doing before. And I mentioned this before with the other, with the War for Cybertron, the one that came out a couple months ago. You know, these are all stories that are happening before the G1. Like, this is like almost like a prequel series. And so, you know, it's pretty good. It's, you know, it's real fucking gritty, and people are getting fucking shot and all types of craziness. But, if you haven't checked it out, give it a shot. You may want to watch the other Transformer stuff first. You know, the Netflix Transformer shows, but this is all sort of like stuff that happens before the G1, before the 84 Transformers. And like I said, it's a little more grittier and stuff like that. The Mandalorian, you know, even though the one one of the good things to come out of 2020. Mandalorian season 2. I mean, of course, the last episode we talked about Rosario Dawson playing Ahsoka, and then fucking these guys, you know, Ryan Johnson. Not Ryan Johnson. Excuse me. I was about to say fuck Ryan Johnson. Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. The gigantic brass balls on them. And if you haven't seen it by now, you've been spoiled already, but just to fucking have Luke Skywalker in the season finale of The Mandalorian was fucking fantastic. A lot of people complaining that it should have been Sebastian Stan, the guy who plays Winter Soldier. Because they say he looked.
Fuck cares?
Well, I'm just saying is, you know, I mean, he already works for Disney. he could have done a 2-minute cameo. You know, he's already doing Falcon and Winter Soldier. I mean, you know, he could have just came to the set one day, you know, and he's been the Winter Soldier for the past couple of years. Even because from what I understand, these episodes of The Mandalorian were like literally filmed not last year, like 2019, and so but they did. You know, it was CGI. From what I understand, it was actually Mark Hamill. It was like Mark Hamill, but then they made his face. You know, they didn't de-age him. They kind of just replaced his whole head. You know, but you know, like the way they do the de-aging on the Marvel movies. But I think like he was literally there for his scenes and stuff like that. But once again, like I said before, fuck Ryan Johnson, because Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau treated Luke Skywalker the way he was supposed to be treated. The character was held with respect. He was fucking badass. He was tearing through those fucking hallways, fighting all those dark troopers. You know, he grabbed Baby Yoda, and now the big mystery is like what happened to, well, should I say Grogu? What happened to Grogu / Baby Yoda after Luke picked him up, but before, because this is before Luke starts the new Jedi Academy with Kylo Ren, with Ben Solo being a student. So like, was Ben Solo and Grogu in the same class? Did Grogu escape? Did Grogu leave before Luke Skywalker started his class? You know, that's going to be an interesting, because so many people have gotten invested into Baby Yoda that, you know, whatever that story is, it's, you know, someone's going to have a good time, you know, lining up those stories on what happened to Grogu after The Mandalorian, but before The Force Awakens. Okay. And, you know, once again, just Mandalorian was just fucking, and then of course, you know, they announced, Boba Fett, the Book of Boba Fett, coming out next year. So we have Mandalorian coming out, we have the Book of Boba Fett, and it's funny, of all those shows, I think the last episode we were talking about all those shows that Disney announced for Star Wars, but they kept the Book of Boba Fett secret. They announced that at the end of The Mandalorian, which was like, you know, and if it's run by, you know, or at least under the supervision of Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, it's probably going to be fucking good, you know. But I mean, it's also, you know, for years and years and years, people wanted Boba Fett to come back, and now he's back. And then ironically or coincidentally and tragically, the original actor that played Boba Fett, Jeremy Bulloch, passed away, which was pretty fucking sad. You know, the guy finally gets his day in the sun and then, you know, dies like a week later. I mean, in the show they were using Tenemura Morrison, the guy who played him in the prequel movies, but I played Jango Fett, and he played his own father, or his clone daddy. Yeah, his clone daddy.
Clone daddy.
But but it's such a shame that, like, you know, we get excited about Boba Fett, but then the guy who actually played him passes away, which, you know, and then we just lost the guy who played Darth Vader, so it's like bittersweet. Wonder Woman 84 came out. Got a lot of people to subscribe to HBO Max. You know, oh my God, people tore the fuck into that movie. People hated that movie so much. And it's funny because I'm the guy, like, I'm sitting here saying, fuck Ryan Johnson. And I actually liked Wonder Woman 84. You know, I liked it that, you know, unlike the other DC movies that are trying real hard to be like, well, the darker ones, the Zack Snyder ones, you know, they're being like gritty and stuff like that, and Batman v Superman, and you know, well, Justice League was a mashup between him and Joss Whedon, but you know, Justice League, and I mean not Justice League, Dawn of Superman, Dawn of Justice, Man of Steel, you know, those movies I feel are a little tainted by, you know, they're trying to be all hard and dark and gritty, and Wonder Woman was actually not trying to be dark and gritty, and people were fucking upset about it or whatever. Like, was it a goofy premise? Yes, it was a very goofy premise that Max Lord is like this guy, and there's a wishing stone, so he uses magic, and then he wishes that he becomes the wishing stone, and it's, you know, it's this, yes, it's a goofy fucking premise, but, you know, and the whole thing is that, like, when you watch movies like Like Birds of Prey, which is technically part of the DCEU, that wasn't trying to be dark and gritty. Shazam wasn't trying to be dark and gritty. So why wouldn't Wonder Woman? I think DCEU is trying to follow the Marvel Cinematic Universe and start and make like lighter. And not every movie has to be you fighting a giant gray ugly monster at the end of the movie. And I dug it. Was it a little long? Yeah. Did it have a whole bunch of plot holes? Yeah, but it was fun. I liked Kristen Stewart as fucking Cheetah. Did she look goofy? Yeah, she looked goofy. You know what I'm saying? I mean, yes, the movie had a lot of flaws, but like people were hating the movie the way like I hated Last Jedi, and I don't how like it's like bubblegum. I enjoyed it. I don't understand how people fucking oh my god, people fucking hate that movie.
Well, I hate the movie for a different reason, but that's not the point.
Oh, is it because
it's on
HBO Max? Yeah, and not in the movie theaters. So.
Yeah. I mean, just let me just get this off my chest. And these movies being on fucking, being on HBO Max the same time as in movie theaters. Well, it was a big clusterfuck. Yeah. Let's just put it that way. Bloomberg reported that, and I got to find the article, that they're going to pay out these directors as if they did really well at the box office for these movies, or they're going to make special deals like apparently Godzilla and maybe Dune will actually be in theaters for a while, and then after a certain amount of time, then they'll be on HBO Max. I like that idea, but.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the whole thing is, it's not like HBO, it's not like Warner Brothers was like trying to fuck these directors. The world went to fucking hell, and they're trying to make the best out of a bad situation. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I feel bad for the theaters, but it's not like people set out to say let's screw the movie theaters. The fucking world went to hell.
Well, no. It's actually they're trying to do self-preservation because what they're doing, and you may not know this, is they're just trying to attract people to HBO Max because before HBO Max was on Roku and these movies were announced, it wasn't doing it was just sitting there doing nothing. Yeah. They only had 8 million subscribers.
I wasn't watching it.
Yeah, and I mean they just started putting like Batman and all these other things, these other animated shows on, which it's been a year since it's been out, and everybody's kind of sitting there scratching their heads going, why the fuck did it take you so long to do this? Because it didn't make any sense. You know what I mean? Like, why would you open this? Why would you, first of all, start this service with it not being on Roku, let alone not having pretty much all the best things of your library on the service? It just made no sense. I mean, Disney has pretty much all of their library on Disney Plus. If you're not doing that with your stuff, then HBO Max isn't worth it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and somebody brought it up that, well, they might have contracts for these movies and everything, and I'm like, yeah, but why would you sign a contract with Peacock to have Batman Begins and The Dark Knight, or Dark Knight Returns, whatever, on Peacock when it should be on HBO Max? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Thundercats. You have both versions of Thundercats. They're not on HBO Max. Why aren't they on HBO Max? You own them. So, you see what I'm saying? Like, it's those kinds of things where you kind of, you look at it and you go, I just don't get this. You know what I mean? Like, I don't get it. Like,
yeah.
You should be, the communication was bad when it came to just rushing these films onto HBO Max. And then, they hadn't put any good content on their service until this month.
Yeah.
So you're kind of just sitting there scratching your head going, what the fuck are they doing? It's so frustrating. So fucking frustrating.
Yeah, they I mean, it was shasty, but it was smart shasty. Because now I'm watching your show.
Well, and I mean, are you paying for it?
Well, I have it under my boss. My boss is letting me share his account. Like my Netflix and Hulu and Disney Plus.
That's the other thing that kills me. It's like you get HBO Max for free if you got AT&T. So, obviously I have HBO Max for free, but I haven't watched Wonder Woman. I'm not going to watch Wonder Woman because it wasn't in theaters. That's the way I'm doing it. I'm not watching any fucking movie that's not going to be in theaters.
Yeah, well,
you don't want to support me, I'm not going to support you. By the way, if your service is going to be free in front of my face, of course I'm going to have your free fucking service in front of my face. So I'm not being hypocritical there. I'm just taking advantage of what I can.
Yeah, because
So-
I mean, like I've been catching up. I've been rewatching Curb Your Enthusiasm because it was HBO. They have for whatever reason they have Reno 911, so I've been watching those. The one thing they do have, and it's been a long enough time, the unedited Batman Beyond Return of the Joker on there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I was fucking super, and like, because I saw someone had posted that, and I thought they were full of shit, and then I watched it, and I was like, oh yeah. So that excited me. But then the weird thing is, but then they have but Blade is on there. The Wesley Snipes Blade and like one of the X-Men movies, and like, shouldn't these be on Disney Plus?
So what happens is if you look at, for example, if HBO, the channel, gets a movie, it automatically goes to HBO Max as well.
Oh, okay.
Because here's the thing is, now that they've HBO, so they took away HBO Go, and now it's HBO Max. So like when Roku finally got HBO Max, it took HBO Go and threw it out the window. It just switched the apps, basically. So...
Oh, okay, that explains it. Because I was like, going through my movies, and I'm like going through, and I'm like, what the fuck is Blade doing here?
Well, yeah, I mean that's why it's happening, is because you'll see these movies and you're kind of looking at it going, okay, this makes no sense, but I mean that's how it goes,
And while I have Batman on the brain, and while we're discussing DC, gigantic news: Michael Keaton has been announced that he's going to be in the Flash movie. And of course, this Flash movie is obviously going to be delving into alternate universes, alternate realities, and, but it's going to be the Michael Keaton from the Tim Burton movies. I mean, of course, just talking about Batman Beyond, of course, we all want that Batman Beyond movie. But until we get that, I'm still very fucking excited that Michael Keaton's going to be in the Flash movie. A lot of the fans are very happy about that. On the flip side, and not that, I mean, look, I like Cyborg. I liked Ray Fisher's Cyborg. I wish they had done a little bit more with him. I personally like Cyborg as a character. And I would have loved to see him get proper treatment. Unfortunately, Ray Fisher, has issues with, and now they're some people are trying to paint the picture that maybe Ray Fisher's just making things a lot worse than what they actually were. I mean, I don't want to speculate on that, but but he's dropped out of the Flash movie, or he's caused so many waves saying that he's had trouble with like Justice League and stuff like that, that they're like, at one point he was going to be part of the Flash movie, now he's not. So, but I mean, saying that Michael Keaton's going to come in, I mean, I'll take Michael Keaton over Ray Fisher any day. Even though I like Cyborg, and I hopefully in the future they'll give him a movie that they'll give him his due respects. WandaVision comes out in a couple days on Disney Plus. Then thus beginning, all the new Marvel shows that are basically going to be 10-hour movies, like, if they're like 10 episodes, an hour each or whatever, or just maybe short of an hour each, but these shows are being produced as if they were movies. So I'm like super excited to see what WandaVision is going to be. Let me see. I'm still Marvel. I got it. I want to play the Spider-Man Miles Morales. I keep hearing good things about it. I think I might have mentioned that the last episode. I just haven't gotten it yet. MF Doom. If you remember the song Crazy by Gnarls Barkley, that was CeeLo Brown and MF Doom. MF Doom passed away. I don't know exactly. I didn't see what he died of. But I did not know this, that MF Doom used to go by another rap name called Zev Love X. And it was more particularly known. There was a, do you remember there was like a white rap group called Third Base? Like their first big song was called The Gas Face. Maybe I'm an old man, and that's sort of like that's when I grew up. But it's like, it's so weird that I did not realize that the guy from the Gas Face song transformed into MF Doom. But unfortunately, he passed away. So rest in peace there. Tommy Lasorda, rest in peace. Here's one. Tiny Lister. Mostly known from playing Debo in the Friday movies. I knew him more as the guy who played Zeus versus Hulk Hogan in the No Holds Barred movie. He played the president. I don't know if he was like the president of Earth or president of the universe in The Fifth Element. But and then he was. I totally forgot, and that's a shame on me that he was in The Dark Knight when the Joker he puts bombs on both boats, and one boat has like all civilians, and the other boat has all criminals. And he's like, each of you have the trigger for the bomb for the other boat, and then like they're like. And the one guy, he's gonna blow up the boat of the criminals and stuff like that. And then like Tiny Lister plays the character. He goes, just tell them I took it from you. he takes the trigger and throws it out the window. And I always thought that Tiny Lister, had they done a live action Killer Croc, he would have been a perfect Killer Croc. If they ever, they did do a Killer Croc in Suicide Squad, but that wasn't that great. Okay, Flash Player for years and years and years. I mean, for those people remember the Newgrounds website, all those Flash games and Flash animations from when we were, when the internet was much younger and more naive. Flash Player is now officially dead. And I looked it up. I was wondering, why is Flash Player dead? Why are they pushing it away from me? Because nowadays, they made Flash Player, and then once cell phones started getting better technology about like being able to show videos and stuff like that, the internet didn't necessarily need Flash Player. And it's funny because like we're big fans of Megas XLR and stuff like that, and those. I mean, it was heavily modified versions of Flash, super duper customized versions of Flash, but, we love Megas XLR. That was animated in Flash. They just treated it like a regular animation program and stuff like that. And other cartoons by Titmouse, including Motor City and a bunch of other ones, were animated in Flash, but it's, it's just weird that, now like Adobe's like, we're not supporting Flash anymore. It may still exist on your computer, but, officially it's dead. Cobra Kai Season 3, I haven't watched it yet. I want to watch it. I really loved Cobra Kai Season 1, particularly because I got a chance to meet, Billy Zabka and, what's-his-face from, Karate Kid at Comic-Con. The McRib was out. I think I put that in my notes. It's still technically out because I got a McRib the other day, but, hopefully, if you guys are, if it's still available in your area, go get it. I love the McRib. I wish they'd have it all year. And then I kind of just had a thing real quick. I just want to talk about, guys, do me a favor. If some pretty girl sends you a fucking friend request and it's an account that was just started yesterday and the girl has nothing but guy friends and maybe 2 profile pictures, don't accept the friend request. These are people from another country trying to sucker you into thinking that they are a pretty girl and will eventually start asking you for money and stuff like that, because my friends keep falling for this shit. And what happens is they will friend my friend, and then after a while they'll friend me. And it's beginning to get very, very fucking irritating. So guys, stop falling for this bullshit, like some random girl that you don't know, And then the funny thing is, if you ever talk to them, if anybody ever calls you dear, they call you dear, D-E-A-R, hey dear, hi dear, morning my dear. Anybody who calls you dear is someone from another fucking country. Because for whatever reason, when you translate like honey or dear or sweetheart or whatever, it all translates to dear. So for them trying to be nice to you, they say dear. So that's like anyone calls you dear, just fucking block them. It's someone from a third world country who's going to try to make you catfish you into thinking they're a pretty girl and try to ask you to send them fucking money with Amazon gift cards or Google gift cards or whatever. It's a scam. And stop doing it, because I don't fall for it, but my fucking friends do, and then these bitches come try to add me, and it gets irritating.
Some of these girls are, well, they're not girls. They're just a guy on the other side of the screen. They basically, what is it? Because I've gotten a couple weird friend requests. Like, the ones that make me laugh are where, like, you scroll down on their profile and you see like their profile picture is a black dude from like Africa, and then all of a sudden it got turned into this like white chick. I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Have a nice day. Like, dude, like, are you thinking about this at all? Like, are you thinking about how you're trying to like do this? Because you're doing a terrible job right now.
Yeah.
So.
And the whole thing is like sometimes as a goof I'll accept a friend request and then I'll entertain a couple I'll entertain a couple of back and forths just to see where they're going with it, and it's all the same. They always call you dear and this and this and that, and and then and I'm in my aunt's house and I'm just staying here for a little while, because sometimes like they'll put Rochester, and I'm like, oh, you're Rochester, oh, and I'm like, oh, where do you like to go in Rochester? Oh, well, I'm new in Rochester, I'm staying in my aunt's house or whatever, and this and this and that, and I'm like, oh, no, but where's your favorite place to go, and what's your favorite supermarket? And like just trying to see if they know anything about Rochester, and they don't, and so then I just block.
Or they'll come up with like the biggest thing that. Like,
Yeah, well, I'm trying to see, like, I always try to, like, that's my test. If you know anything about Rochester, it's Wegmans. So I always try to see if they know about Wegman, And, like, if you're in Rochester, you know about Wegmans, then you're not a fucking person. You're not a Rochester person. But,
Yeah, I mean that's kind of how they try it. Like, I know, like, if somebody's fake, if they say, like, okay, so... Number one, you have those profile pitch changes. Number two, you just started your profile and you have like virtually no friends.
Mm-hmm.
3, if you don't have any mutual friends. Mm-hmm. And number 4 is if I do talk to you, the first thing out of your mouth is, oh, well, I know about Wegmans. Everybody knows what Wegmans is. I don't want to hear it. Something like something big in Rochester that everybody should know about. Like, if somebody said, okay, well, I really want to go get a garbage plate. Okay, maybe I'll believe you at that point. But you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I entertain it because I know it's a scam. So I'm just sort of just like playing with them because it's sometimes you'll just be bored and just like, okay, let's see what this person, let's see where their knowledge is. And like I said, and the first give off is always dear. Morning, dear. What else? So now I've finished my list. Do you got anything else you want to add before we?
No, I'm good.
All right.
Let's get on out of here.
Let's wrap this up.
That's what she said.
Please visit twostrangersonepodcast.net and .com. You can find all things show related. You can find links to our iTunes page, or if you have an iPhone, iPad, iPod, or who the fuck still has an iPod, but if you do, you can subscribe to us on iTunes. Get all the episodes there. If you don't have an iPhone, iPad, or iPod, you can subscribe to us on the Stitcher app. Stitcher app is the one I use. I put it on available offline and listen later. Now, the funny thing is I'm sitting at home anyway. It's not like I drive anywhere anymore besides going food shopping and stuff like that. But if you want, like what I do, and then you just, without killing your battery or your data, you can listen to episodes while you're out and about, or if you're exercising or driving around, if you do actually get behind the wheel of a car and actually drive to a physical place of work. Of course, every podcast worth listening to is on Stitcher, including Paul's other baby, the Tanami Faithful podcast. It's on there on Stitcher. If you want to, we want your money. We need your money. We still haven't set up a Patreon or anything like that. Maybe we'll set up an OnlyFans. But
no, nobody wants to see that.
But if you like the show, if you want to support the show, like us on Facebook, share us on Facebook. It takes 2 seconds to do it. Share us with your friends and stuff like that. Show us a little love. It's been a while since we had I do get likes from guys from third world nations. It's usually like it's guys who have listened to the episode. We have an episode from a long time ago called the Goku versus Superman. And then the funny thing is, in the episode, the artwork for the episode is Goku and Superman kissing, and that usually gets a rise out of guys from third world countries for whatever reason. So I guess they like Dragon Ball Z and they're familiar with Superman, but they just don't like seeing them kiss. But if you want to write us, and as I'm saying this, I'm actually checking. So I guess Oscar has still fallen off the face of the earth. He's not here. He hasn't written to us, but if you would like to write to us, you can write to us at twostrangersonepodcast@gmail.com. That's twostrangersonepodcast@gmail.com. You can curse me out. You can say whatever you like. For years, we had Oscar say horrible, horrible things about me and my life. He seems to fall off the face of the earth, but what are you saying?
That kills me because, like, I could see him, like, seriously being like, well, what the hell? Why aren't you recording any episodes? Like that would be him right now, and I don't understand why he's not doing that.
Yeah, it's
Or here's the thing, like I would be getting an email about why isn't Chris putting out episodes? And I'm like looking at my screen like, why the fuck are you asking me?
Yeah, I think he got mad ever since I played the audio of him singing. I think that was the straw that broke the camel's back.
Dude, he was asking for that, man. I hate to say it, but he was asking for that shit. You know, like that's on him, man. Like I don't have any sympathy for his ass.
And as we gear up to hit our 9-year anniversary, you can, if you don't have an iPhone or iPad or Android device, if you want to go right to the source, you can go to our SoundCloud app and listen to us. I make the episodes available on SoundCloud. You can download us there. And I lost the track of what.
Hey guys, Future Chris checking in here. I was having technical difficulties with my microphone, and I thought we were recording when I tried to fix it afterwards, but we missed the rest of the episode. So you know the drill. Visit twostrangersonePodcast.com and .net. You can visit Paul's much more successful podcast at ToonamiFaithful.com, and you can find all the links on both of those sites to get in contact with us or how to interact with the show. So with that, don't be a stranger. You should be fapping.
All right, here we go, man. Go ahead. You want to read
Double Jackpot.
What is it?
It is a self-published book by Christopher Cologne.
Chris Cologne? Smells good to me.
But
look at her. That broke that fucking cold little exterior. He's like, hee.
But it is spelled C-O-L-O-N.
Him punny.
But Double Jackpot is a book about a comic book artist, Eric, who is in a loveless relationship with a materialistic
I feel you, Eric.
Lynette.
Oh, fucking. Are you sure I didn't write this? Sounds hauntingly familiar.
He starts cheating on his girlfriend with a more creatively supportive woman, Nadia.
Well, I gotta meet her. Where's the Nadia?
There's your summer girlfriend.
Summer Nadia is Nadia.
Nadia?
Yeah, I think Nadia spelled with an A.
All right.
Both Lynette and Nadia play the double jackpot, the largest payout in lotto history, much like the recent Powerball. Both girls play his birth date as the winning numbers. Eric is now stuck between two of the country's richest women. Who will he choose? It's not that simple. This is a clever fucking idea,
Yeah, it
man.
is.
Look at her. Fucking, she's impressed.
I am.
She got some summer reading. Christopher Cologne smells real lovely with an original idea. This is. I've never heard this before.
I haven't either. This is a self-published book, much in the indie spirit as Kev's Clerks.
Oh, you don't even need to name check me. This is just a good idea. You could stand on your own, man. You don't even have to be like, hey, remember Clerks? This is nothing like that. This is way more original than Clerks. This is a good idea, man. Why didn't I think of this?
I need something to read. This book is part of the Comic Books, Heavy Metal, Video Games Trilogy Book 2. Odd I See, A Tale from the Road, coming soon.
Right on, man. It's part of a trilogy. This is the first part.
Way to write, man.
He's seeking a literary agent. Motherfuckers, anybody out there? There ain't no literary agents listening to this show, I assure you, sure. I assure you, sure. But somebody know a literary agent? Hook a motherfucker up! Chris Cologne come up with an original idea. I should tell Raskin. That's a good fucking idea, to be honest with you. That's a fucking rom-com right there. Megan, get Raskin on the phone. Isn't it possible to get Raskin on the phone? No?
Yeah.
I want to run it past him, man. And if it happens, I get a taste, Chris Cologne. I get a whiff, if you will.
The book could also be ordered on www.lulu.com.
That's lulu.com.
I understand that. I just want to spell it out.
Normally one says it, that spells it. Still, lulu.com. What is that? Do you know what it is?
I don't know. All right. The book could also be ordered on www.lulu.com. Search for Double Jackpot Christopher Cologne. A paperback version of the book is $15 and a PDF file is only $5.
$5 is
Yeah.
insanely inexpensive. 15's not even that bad for a paperback version.
No.
This is $1 million idea right here. Like a movie about a dude who fucking is stuck between two chicks, both of who play his birthday and win the lottery. Come on! I can see that trailer. Chris Cologne is on to something. Nobody else can smell it but me.
I'll read it.
Thank you. I'm going to make that smelly joke.
I know, you're trying to get me to laugh again.
It worked once. Double Jackpot is a self-published book by Chris Cologne, man. It's the first book in his comic books, heavy metal, video games trilogy. Book 2, Odd I See, A Tale from the Road, should be coming out soon. Get all the information at Chris Cologne, like a motherfucker.
I will
his
totally
book,
read this.
Double Jackpot. I'm serious. I'm going to recommend that to fucking Raskin. How is that not a movie? You know what I'm saying? This could be a sexy movie. You could do an R-rated version. There could be nudity in it, and you could saw them fucking both chicks. Maybe a little penetration. Maybe a butthole shot. No butthole, no care.
I would like to formally apologize to Christopher Cologne.
No, sex sells. Chris Cologne will appreciate that. He's like, thanks for throwing a few buttholes in there, man.
Don't forget to check out twostrangersonepodcast.net, your one-stop resource for everything show-related. You can find links to subscribe to us on iTunes or on Stitcher. You could also find links to buy my book, Double Jackpot, on twostrangersonepodcast.net.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're cool. And fuck you, I'm out.